angels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Miss Patricia Kirkman.
You're so sweet.
All the way from Tucson. You lucky devil. All the way from Tucson.
It's cooled off here.
Has it now?
Yes. I was surprised. It was like 70-something yesterday.
Oh, my goodness. That's cold.
Cool. I even put a sweater on.
That's
terrible. But I'm glad. Boy, am I glad.
I know. You've been roasting long enough.
Yes.
Well, we have a very special celebrity guest with us today, and we're doing a pre-record because our guest is in France. And in a special place in France, we told him we're going to turn up on his doorstep one of these days because it sounds so special and so exciting. We're gonna, right? Okay.
I've already started to pack.
All right. So we're going to talk to you about our guest in just a minute. But first, PK, what's going on with the numbers? I know we're reviewing everything and trying to get a fresh start.
You know what? It's a beginning of where we're going. And this month is a preview of next year for everybody. So kind of take note, take a look at what you're going through. But I think we've kind of covered that fairly well over the last couple of months of what we were going into, that I'd rather relinquish my time for our guest.
Yeah, all right. Me too. Me too, because he is so fascinating and so talented. Oh, my gosh.
And I know our viewers are going to enjoy that much more than they will hearing
I know.
About finishing with the month we're in. So
I know. Two old ladies chatting. Okay, I get it.
You got it.
Not as fascinating as this guy, Richard Stanley. But before we do that, we're going to have Bill show the cover of his new book. Look at the cover. I'll tell you something. When I saw the cover, I knew I had to read the book because it's a great cover. It just draws you in. There is a mystery to be solved. And we're going to find out there was more than one mystery.
Definitely.
And we love mysteries. We love that at least some of them get solved. So this is a great thing, right? Mm-hmm. So let me tell you a little bit about Richard. First of all, the real Indiana Jones is who Richard wrote about. Otto Rahn. He is the greatest Grail Hunter, the greatest Grail Hunter in history. Now, Richard is a filmmaker and anthropologist whose films include, because he's a famous filmmaker, Dust Devil, Hardware, and Color Out of Space. What a great title.
Yes.
As a journalist and documentarian, he has covered events in Afghanistan, Rwanda, and Haiti. A frequent contributor to publications, including the Fortean Times and the Sauniere Society Journal. He lives in France, and he's with us here today. You're going to hear the show tonight. Richard, welcome to the show.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with both you, Patricias. And it's a real honor and a privilege.
Well, thank you.
We're delighted.
That keeps giving.
Well, I'm so glad, and Patricia, I know you are too. We've been talking about this. This is an unusual topic, very unusual, yet so fascinating. So obviously, you're a writer, you're a producer, you're a director. You do a lot of very creative things. What was it that drew you to this story?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess initially I was hired on. It may have been because of my hat, because I've got no real archaeological knowledge. But way back in the summer of 1990, Britain's Channel 4 television hired me on as a researcher They were trying to do a real life Raiders of the Lost Ark. They just had a successful documentary based on the real life Jurassic Park, all about extracting dinosaur DNA from amber. And they kind of wanted to follow it up by doing a real Raiders. And so hired me on and paid me generously to try and find out whether there was any truth behind the story that the Nazis, in particular the SS, were trying to get their hands on a number of talismanic power objects immediately before and during the course of the war, including the Ark of the Covenant, the Spear of Longinus, and the Holy Grail. So thanks to a generous expense account, I got on the trail in the summer of 1990. And unlike so many other mysteries, I found that this one had no bottom. The further into it I went, the more doors opened, and the deeper and more mysterious the thing became. Thanks to the way my research ran, I ended up being the Holy Grail guy rather than the Spear or the Ark guy. I didn't find a lot of evidence, frankly, to suggest that the Nazis had any interest in the Ark of the Covenant at all. But I did find a very real Holy Grail quest. And then basically found the character of Otto Rahn, the German Jewish Grail historian who was hired on by Heinrich Himmler's Ahnenerbe SS in the 1930s to presumably find the so-called Holy Grail.
Now, this is a quandary for most people to wrap their minds around. How can a Jewish man work for the SS? How did that happen?
Good question here, kiddo.
And I should note also that Otto was also out gay. So he was a gay Jewish man, made surprisingly no effort to hide these tendencies in his mail or in his writing at the time, which is kind of shockingly brave.
Yes.
And even towards the end of his short, unhappy life, when they insisted that he fill out his certificate of racial purity and made out his Ahnenpass, he told the truth. Didn't try to cover up his Jewish roots in the Ahnenpass, which is still on file in the Bundesarchiv in Germany. So, filling out a form like that and owning up to your Jewish roots at that point in time and having an insider knowledge of the SS is a kind of honesty akin to being frankly suicidal. It's
Gosh.
Oh, yes.
How did they accept him? Was it because he had such a great amount of knowledge that they felt that he was so valuable?
Yeah, I mean, basically, Otto uncovered a hidden tradition, a lost European spiritual tradition that had been basically hidden for close to 7 centuries, and his personal research had taken him here to the French Pyrenees, and he did that all on his own initiative and his own coin. The Nazis didn't become involved until he wrote a best-selling book on the subject. His book Crusade Against the Grail, which shows up in around 1934. Basically was the first book to appear outside of France, I think, to ever tell the story of the Cathars, the story of the Albigensian Crusade, and the siege of Montsegur. So, regardless of whether one believes in the reality of the Grail, the material itself was still of vast significance, and for many people, it was the first time that they had encountered it. So the book did well in Germany. And it was read ardently by a young teenage SS girl who was a switchboard operator and driver at the Schloss Wewelsburg, who recommended it to her boss, the head of the Race and Settlement Department, who read it, loved it, passed it on up to his boss, who was Heinrich Himmler, who read it, loved it, and immediately ordered that Otto be brought to Berlin, and was very swiftly inducted into the SS. I mean, it's the the anti-Semitism that became characteristic of the Nazis and the SS, I guess, wasn't as apparent in 1934. We were still effectively 4 or 5 years away from Reichskristallnacht. There's also evidence from the surviving letters that Otto's family also thought that if he was inside the SS, he'd be able to do something about it and make things better. And Otto shows a shocking naivety throughout, in that even towards the end of his career, he writes complaining letters to Heinrich Himmler's personal officers, complaining about the conditions in the camps, and also voicing his concern that not only is it going to besmirch their honor, but it's also going to look really bad in the history books to come. So I think... Right. I mean, at one point he says it's no longer possible for a tolerant, decent man to live in the country that my homeland has become.
That was really bold. Oh my God!
He's very out with in terms of his beliefs. So it's not surprising that he didn't last long. I mean, his career in the SS is only really about 4 or 5 years, and to the best of our knowledge, he's left dead on the French-German border in the spring of 1939.
So he was murdered by them?
We don't know. The circumstances of Otto's departure from this planet are as weird as pretty much everything else about his life, which is, I would expect no less. But yeah, he seemed to be trying to get back to France. He was on the run from the SS. He had sent a formal resignation letter to Himmler's office. And he went to see his publisher in Munich and then caught a bus to France. But for whatever reason, he got off the bus at Zoll at the customs crossing. And I assume it's because he saw people were being searched and became frightened that he'd be apprehended, got off the bus and ducked into the forest. And the last people to see him alive was a couple of children playing outside their parents' farmhouse out on the slopes of the Wilde Kaiser Mountain. The boy, Billy Meyer, and his sister. And they claim that shortly before nightfall on March 14th, 1939, a man in black comes out of the tree line and approaches them in a state of agitation and asks them if they know the time. Does anyone have the time? And he has a golden watch. And then he disappears back into the trees. The snow starts to fall more heavily. They search for him, but find he's left no footprints. Then about 3 months later, the snow thaws, and the same children find the body of the man who asked them for the time underneath the snow a little further down the river. The police are summoned. The body is taken to Zoll, and later a formal identification is made by the SS. So the family then have to write to the SS to get the body back. And as no one's gone to the expense of checking the DNA, we just have to take the SS's word for it, that it was SS Obersturmführer Otto Wilhelm Rahn. The cause of death on the death certificate is hypothermia. He froze to death.
How? You're right. That's a very odd thing. Very odd way to die. So walk us through this, if you would. I mean, did this mystery keep you up at night when you started the research? I mean, there's so many parts to it.
Yeah, plenty nights. and still does. That's it's a mystery that keeps on giving, because it leads to I guess consequences. The deeper into it you go, once you start believing in the stuff, you get drawn into the ongoing conflict, which unfortunately remains a thing. As any fans of Indiana Jones will know, if there's a Holy Grail and you're about to reach the Grail and you reach out for it, the very next thing you're going to hear is nearly always the sound of a gun being cocked. then you're going to discover that a bunch of other people are,
right behind you.
Right.
Which is still a thing, even in 2025.
So were you followed and tracked, and were your phones tapped and everything else because you were on this trek?
Initially, probably not, but then I guess definitely yes. Then there are parts of this that remain a huge problem right to the present day. I think the circumstances now in 2025 make the story more dangerous than it was when I started in 1990. There's more forces out there in our world of 2025 with a will to cover this up, to make certain that the story does not get out than there was at the beginning. It's a tricky time. What we're seeing right now is a high level move to try to effectively cancel the Cathars and delete this inconvenient piece of history from the record books. And I do believe.
What is the motive of that? Why insist on deleting that from history?
Well, it depends if you believe it or not, but I kind of do at this point. In which case, the motive is the matrix repairs itself. Stuff which challenges the what's going on in this world kind of gets airbrushed out of existence and kept silent. And it seems to me that the so-called Cathars in the 12th or the 13th century were onto something. And because of that, they were exterminated very ruthlessly. All of their writing was vaporized, and the entire language basically criminalized and erased. And then we had 7 centuries of the Inquisition, basically making certain that not only the heresy, but any kind of related thing going through to witchcraft and cat owners were likewise vaporized. So,
now, is this though? Because I mean, there's got to be like this endpoint of the groups that are against this information being known. I mean, usually the information would give normal people, regular people, a form of sovereignty, a form of accepting themselves as sovereign, and that's a definite problem for people in power and people in old power. Is that the reason that they want to cover this up, because it could really be valuable to everyday people?
Well, it's a confluence of factors. It's a confluence of evils in the present day. Certainly a part of it is still conservative Catholicism. We should not underestimate the Vatican. To this day, the Dominican order has refused to acknowledge the crimes of the Inquisition. There has been no Truth and Justice Commission over the crimes of the Vatican and the 7 centuries of Inquisition persecution. So, of course, there's still powerful conservative Catholic forces and folk like Opus Dei who want to keep things the way they are, the way they've always been, and don't want the heresy basically reseeding into the internet, into the present day. So I do see that as being a part of it. Some of the forces may be Russian Orthodox, because the Eastern Orthodox Church also has its reasons for not wanting the so-called heresy to get out of the bag. And politically, France just hates the fact that anyone would ever even mention Occitania. This genocidal destruction of Occitania and the culture that existed here in the 12th and the 13th century is very embarrassing for them too. And as with Spain jailing all the Catalan leaders, any hint of Occitan nationalism is a red flag for the French Republic.
I bet, because they should be ashamed, and it's part of their history still. So you can't erase it. They can try. That's, I'm sure, what they're trying to do. But in terms of the power of these things that were so sought after and still are being sought after, what is the power of this? What is the power of the Grail and all the ancillary objects that go with it? What is the real power of it?
I guess personally, symbolically, I'd like to see the Grail as being a symbol of peace, of balance, of the union of the sun and the moon, of the harmonization of opposites, the possibility of peace, that somehow this eternal conflict between light and dark can be resolved. And it manifests, I think, in different artifacts in different ways. If our reality is the three-dimensional shadow of a spiritual truth, then that force has an ability to manifest in any number of ways into our material world. And there's plenty cups to choose from, as they say in Excalibur. And they have a kind of a way of manifesting into your life at the moment when a grail is necessary. Most people don't need grails because I don't think you go looking for them unless you're damaged to begin with. The desire to be healed is usually the thing to make oneself whole again. That motivates people to seek it to begin with. So by the time they make it all the way over here to Montsegur, to the Grail Castle, most of the folk are pretty damaged.
In the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the subsequent ones, there was a number of Grail cups, I believe, and then he had to choose from one, if I recall correctly. And do you see it that way, that there is an actual Grail cup, or is it again simply a symbol of something?
There's definitely a Grail cup too, and multiple cups.
Oh, okay, multiple ones, right?
Yeah, I would say that there's multiple items where you could rightly say it is the Holy Grail, because the word's so loosely defined. Like when the term Grail is first used in Chrétien de Troyes' Parsifal, he's referring to a big golden serving platter with a Christian fish symbol on it that's brought into the hall. This serving platter actually exists and is in the collection of the Louvre Gallery, and does seem to be the item that Chrétien de Troyes is describing. The hard, dark stones, the lapis excelsis, the stones from the sky, described in Wolfram von Eschenbach's Parsifal, is another Grail, and our Cup of Valencia. And there's those who say the Grail is the literal blood of Christ. And at the time of the Crusades, Dietrich of Alsace brought back what he believed was the literal blood of Christ in a glass test tube, gave it to the town of Bruges, where it's venerated in this Basilica of the Holy Blood in the center of Bruges, and it's the blood of Christ, according to them, and it's a legitimate Grail as well. So I think there's any number of objects fluttering around, which and that's not even getting into the Cup of Abraham and the sacred treasures of the Temple of Solomon, and all of the pre-Christian iterations of the Grail.
Gosh,
Incredible.
So many powerful, mysterious objects. Now, have you personally touched any of these things? I know this has touched your life in a big way, but have you physically come in contact with any of these things?
Oh, yes.
Great.
Absolutely. I mean, it's October now, so 2 months ago in mid-August, I held in my hands an obsidian chalice fashioned by thousands of years ago by ancient hands, that was so beautifully that the stone was so thin it was translucent when you held it up to the light.
Oh my goodness!
This was made of a form of obsidian matched to a vein of obsidian in Bethlehem in the Holy Lands.
Oh my goodness! Matched to another vein? How is that possible? That's incredible.
because it was dug up and from excavated from Temple Mount in the First Crusade, and has been shifting around Europe along with everything else that came back at the time of the Crusades for about 1,000 years before finally falling into the hands of a powerful Portuguese family in the 20th century, and then leaking out onto onto the black market, and then coming to the attention of folk with an interest in conflict antiquities, establishing the provenance on truly ancient relics from which might well be from Israel, Afghanistan, Iraq, or from the far side of the world, but nonetheless remain potent and at times
So you see me stopping at the bit here. I want to ask you, what did you feel when you held that in your hands?
Well, I guess I'm a believer. I felt I had to again try to defend it from the other people who gathered around the table.
No kidding.
Oh.
So
in the
what
sort
did you do?
of millionaires and different
right.
folk who sought possession of it, which is a tricky thing, because the chappie who owns the piece legitimately wants to get rid of it and to pass it on to a set of hands. But then looking at it all, it feels no different from what happened to Otto. It feels no different from his time when he found what he found here in the mountains, then went back to Germany and was co-opted by the darkest forces possible. So it's a tricky thing. What I felt was that the cup didn't belong to any of them.
Makes sense.
So, but what about you? Did you feel like you could be the caretaker of the cup?
I don't know. I think it has a different plan for me. I've got the cup that I deserve, which showed up at the right time in my life, just when this. I should have really mentioned it in the book, but it actually happened right after the closing chapter of the book.
What happened?
Yeah, just after the apparition on the mountaintop, I went back to London. I still had an apartment in London at that point, and when I got home, I saw there was this young Afghan girl of around 16 ringing my buzzer, and just as I was coming back from the railway station, I asked her what she wanted, and she was looking for Richard Stanley. I asked what were the charges, and she reached into her shoulder bag and pulled out this wooden chalice and said, "This is for you," and thrust it into my hands. It was a coincidence. It was because she was working for a bunch of Sufi musicians who were doing a concert with the cooperation of the World Affairs Council, and they wanted to show footage from Kafiristan to the concert, and they were, as to the best of my knowledge, the only person to have actually shot movie footage in there. They came looking for me, and they sent Hura to find me. They couldn't afford to pay for it, so they gave her this relic from Kafiristan as a token of appreciation, and it just happened to show up at that moment in time, which is felt like the cup I deserve.
That is synchronicity, is it not? Meant to be. I mean, that was just angelic. I mean, the way that happened for you. My goodness.
No mistakes, only supposed to be.
That's right.
Oh yeah, I think that's how grails happen in life. They can manifest in different ways, but you kind of know it when you found it.
But it has a mind of its own. It has a path of its own. Is what you're saying. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm at a loss for words. This has taken on so much of a bigger proportion than I ever suspected it would. And here we are talking about more mysteries. Now, one of the things that's always concerned me is all these billionaires that have access to more money than God. And a lot of them have the opportunity to own these kinds of things, whether they be from the Holy Land, from Egypt, from Göbekli Tepe, it could be from any of those places, and we'll never see it because it's in their private collection, which is not fair.
Oh, yeah, and you can bet that if there really are such things as extraterrestrial power objects, talismanic supernatural objects, that these things change hands between, very wealthy people. It's similar to stolen works of art. You can't really ever sell them on the open market, but I've seen the strangest things changing hands on the black market, from books of black magic bound into human leather smuggled out of Lebanon across to, in this case, a little chalice from Temple Mountain in Jerusalem, changing hands in Derbyshire. So, it's a strange world out there, and the further I've gone into it, the more I've realized they kind of really are such things.
Incredible.
Yeah, we've heard also Robert Bigelow out in, where is he, Las Vegas, with his company. He's a former owner of Skinwalker Ranch, and he has a lot to do with extraterrestrials. I've been told, I don't know if it's true, that Bob has a room in his home that has an armed guard, and inside that room are all of the alien relics that he has that he doesn't want to share with anybody. I think he should share them with us. I really do. Bob, we're just waiting for your call.
It's like the Ethiopian Jews. I mean, they in Axum, they say they have the Ark of the Covenant and that the Queen of Sheba had it all along, and it's very nice, but they won't show it to anyone. So, which is very irritating, because they really do have the Ark of the Covenant. Can we maybe not, just see a little of it?
Yeah, right. Let me just have a glance, one photo.
Yeah, and if you read the Rahn book, you can see that I did a sort of 30-year dance to try to get a picture of the Grail Pyrenean, the artifact from the Rahn story. It was I kind of started to suspect that it existed back in the early 1990s, but it wasn't really until about 25 years that we were able to not only see the relic, but then finally photograph the relic, and then basically publicly say that it existed.
What a life you lead. So exciting. All of these things that you get to do and you come in contact with. Do you feel that this quest that you've been on has been a positive change for you? Has it healed you?
I suspect I would probably be in a worse shape if it hadn't been for it. But it's also plunged me into a battlefield that I never even knew existed before. I often think life would have been easier without being constantly stuck in the middle of some millenarian conflict between the forces of light and darkness, which seems to be something that happens a lot in Montsegur for some reason.
And you're right in the thick of it, then.
Yeah, I guess I went full-time from around 2007 when I gave up my apartment in the outside world and, decided to move to Montsegur, to the Grail Castle, and, become a full-time inmate of the zone. And it has not been quiet. It's been literally one battle after another, to use the movie title, against forces that I never had the faintest comprehension of before.
Well, I have to say that the spirits chose well when they chose you, because I just feel like PK and I are sitting in the presence of a real honorable person who has a tremendous amount of integrity, and we're just thrilled that you're here with us today, and we're learning so very much about that world that we're not a part of, because it's been hidden and continues to be hidden. But you're revealing a lot of things that are very helpful and very intriguing. So we all will have our own Grail quest after this, because you can't put it down once you start it.
Yeah, it's awkward. There's a lot of little details that they kind of become mindworms. And I mean, at the back of this is also the persistent issue of Christianity itself, because it does seem increasingly like the Holy Roman Church basically hijacked Christianity at some point and wholesale re-edited and rewrote the Bible and basically just changed the agenda of and kind of backing up the clock to before that happened, and examining the proto-Christianity before the genocidal extermination of all other forms of Christianity. It does provoke a fair amount of questioning and soul searching. It also.
Yes, I mean this is the hero's quest, is it not? I mean, this is it right here. You're living it. And Otto, I mean, the more I think about what you shared about Otto, he was extraordinary. I mean, the boldness of this man to declare that he was Jewish and gay with Nazis and sign on to do what he did and then try to get them to do the right thing. I mean, there's something so innocent about Otto. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I fully understand yet. But like I said, everybody needs to get this book, number one. So, Bill, if you could put the book up again.
Otto believed in elves.
And, pardon me?
Otto believed in elves.
Wow. He believed in elves, too. But also, I just want to mention one more thing about the book, because I'm going to do this. I have the book, but I'm also going to get the audiobook, because there's something for me about listening to the story that it makes it more alive. So all of you who don't like to read, that's okay. This is also in an audiobook. Okay, so you too, get the audiobook. Everybody who doesn't feel like reading a great book, listen to the audiobook, because again, this story, we've got to spread the word.
Definitely.
Everybody has to know about this. Okay, I'm done yakking.
A story within a story within a story, because it's impossible to understand Otto's story without understanding the story of the Cathars. Otto was simply trying to tell their story. I think the key moment in the account for me is when the Countess, the Countess Miriam de Pujol-Murat, the descendant of Esclamond, who takes him in, grabs Otto by the arm. They're in the hotel in Usat and listening to the owls calling outside, and she suddenly grabs him by the arm and says, "Listen to me, mon ami, the spirits of my ancestors, how they cry out for vengeance. Promise me you will tell the story of my ancestors." This moment when the old lady grabs Otto's hand in Usat, it's a story which it was his promise to the Countess to tell the tale, and I think I've done my bit to try to make that information land in the 21st century.
Well, you know what we've got to do? We have to make the movie about you. And in this story about you, you bring Otto into it. But the movie's really got to be about you, Richard. That's how I see this.
If you say so, yeah. I mean, my story is impossible to understand without understanding Otto's story, and his story.
Right. They're combined together.
Months ago.
But this is how I think you could get it made. I think this is how you can get this made into a movie. I just keep seeing it. So I'm sorry to be so obstinate.
Yeah,
it be a movie. But I think if you were the focus of it, and Otto becomes this big part of it, I think producers and studios would see this could be such wide appeal. I mean, this
Definitely.
could be huge.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, it's an awkward it's an awkward thing because it's true. The heresy and the remains dangerous. They didn't exterminate all those people for no reason. So, coming along and saying the same things again, it'd be a wonderful world if such a thing were true. And I would love this material to reach the mainstream. There's so much hidden history that people are not aware of that so richly deserves to be recounted and dramatized. Heroes and heroines of the past whose names are obliterated or completely forgotten to us.
Yes, I just think this is becoming more and more important, is to get all of this information out. People are hungry for this information. People want to know what's our real past, what's our real history. We've been lied to. People are waking up to that fact. And that's why having you on our show is so important, because you actually have had your hands on things that are part of our past. You are living a part of our past and then bringing it to us on a silver platter so we don't have to risk our lives. But you definitely are. And it's very grateful to you that you're still also very much alive, and we wanted to stay that way. One other question, though, I don't want to forget this one. You mentioned alien artifacts, too. And you've seen these things change hands. Tell us, what were they?
Well, even this black stone of Rahn is it's an alien metal. It's not from planet Earth.
Okay.
The lapis oxalis, the stones from the sky, these hyperdense iron stones that bleed, that secrete a ferrous solution, 99% pure iron, are part of the great outside. They presumably came to Earth as meteoric debris, but to the best of my knowledge, they don't occupy any known place in the periodic table of the elements. So I literally have not been able to establish the chemical density of the bits of the lapis oxalis we got. They're not hematite. It's something else. It's something from the from the beyond. As with in terms of aliens, I'm increasingly inclined to think in terms of like John Keel's ultra-terrestrials or ultra-dimensionals.
Right.
I often think that there's things which, don't necessarily come from another world across the universe, but are from some other
dimension.
Some other world occupying the same geophysical space as ourselves, which seems bizarre, but they're from here.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to us. We've seen them, and we've photographed them, so we have proof that they are with us. Some of them have talked to us, which is nice. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't sound strange to us at all. And now maybe you think we're strange, but
this is over into fairy stuff. Obviously here in the French Pyrenees, we also
and you said that Otto believed in elves. That he had elves.
I think throughout Otto's got an interest in. He's a very romantic, naive soul in the way. Mm-hmm. From the Black Forest and Grimm's fairy tales onwards, there's right through to when he's being slandered within the SS, and one of the other SS officers notes in an internal memo that anyone might imagine that Rahn is in league with the little people.
He's one of them.
He writes a lot about the fairy knights, the sapphire knight, the queen of Elfland, and the Lauren, the king of the little people.
Oh my goodness!
The elves and the Nibelungen. So I think he was a fully romantic soul, but in touch with those elemental forces and. A believer, and there are things which seem to coexist with us, which seem to be part of the mountains, or certainly part of Montsegur, this so-called Grail Castle. We've got the castle's got ghosts, but it's also got things that live up there that were never even human to begin with, were never alive. So
like what? Tell us. I need to know this. What?
I think different orders of elemental beings. On some level, one might think fairies, goblins,
gnomes.
Certainly, people see such things in the village. I'm asking people from time to time, are there monkeys around here, or do you have big squirrels? But sometimes I think goblins come down all the way down into the village. But I think the presence of these apparent elemental beings, I think, is because of what's in the mountain. I think they've gathered around it because there's something there. There's a lot of other things like the ghosts, and there's bits of time replaying itself, which is like other rooms in the castle. They're just almost insignificant things that happened a long time ago. Someone banging a nail into a piece of wood 7 centuries ago, or which are still kind of caught up in the in the field of the place in some way. There's things there which are human, and there are things which are not human.
I see. Well, that's very interesting, because here I'm in the Berkshires of Massachusetts. PK is in Arizona, and that we've been told that there are layers of large crystal stones underneath the Berkshire area, and it's a hotbed for paranormal activity. So there's UFO sightings, there's Bigfoot sightings, there's the haunted triangle, the Bridgewater Triangle, and there are gnomes and fairies. And it's a very interesting discussion that we're having today. So so we've talked to the gnomes. In fact, I had a friend who I was working with doing some stuff, and all of a sudden this gnome popped up, and he was making so much fun of her. He said, she sleeps like a rock. I walk in and out of her room. She doesn't even know I'm there. And it was just a hilarious conversation with this guy. I ended up getting her a little statue like this big of a gnome to remind her that they were there in her house and she didn't know it. But some of them can be delightful, but some of them I've heard are like people. They're not so nice. They can be nasty. They can get you into some bad situations. So do you have the same thing there, that some of them are friendly and nice and some of them are not?
Oh, yeah. But months ago, it worked out for me at the point when I realized that I was on side with the lady in the castle, at which point I stopped being afraid of it. But the problem is there is something else that opposes it. With ferocious violence and hatred. Where there is, it's something polarizes. Where there is good, there is evil, and as was said earlier, when you reach out for a grail, the next thing you hear is a gun being cocked. There's definitely a dark side. The stronger the light, the fiercer the darkness, it seems, unfortunately, which is why Otto had his problems with the SS, and which is about as dark as you can get. That really is. And you've had your own experiences with this, with the light, the woman in white, and then also the opposing force. So how did you manage that? How did you survive that? Well, I guess I'm lucky to be alive. And I hope that, each day in the zone, I give thanks. I didn't really believe in the good lady fully until I actually witnessed the apparition in 2007 with my own eyes, with another witness present, so that I couldn't con myself into thinking that it was a temporary lapse of sanity. Then we all discussed what to do about it, and it decided not to keep it secret at the time, because it was a choice as to whether to not say anything about it or whether to own up to it. A decision was made at that point to own up to it, which may not have been the right decision. But that's the decision I made, and I have no choice but to stick with it. And since then, The opposing forces manifested in so many powerful and evil ways. It's impossible to see it coming. But I mean, one example being it started doing a replay at one point of the Dune Avatar Fern Gully plotline, where an international mining consortium discovered a hitherto unidentified mineral element called Imrus HARG underneath the Holy Mountain, underneath the Tabor at Montsegur.
Oh my goodness.
They're a subsidiary of Rio Tinto. It's a beauty product. It's a non-carcinogenous alternative to talc, which is after the Johnson & Johnson case is no longer popular. And so suddenly, a mountaintop mining concern with the ability to vaporize the mountain was bearing down on the place with completely created out of harmonization of greed and vanity. Beauty products and the desire for money, greed and vanity brought together into a force strong enough to vaporize the mountain.
That's incredible. God, how frightening.
It's amazing how it comes. And and whatever that other thing is, it really doesn't like the light. It really doesn't like the Holy Grail, and it doesn't like folk even talking about this stuff. It's very fierce and jealous, and consistently seems to wish to keep the stuff down. And at present, there's a move to try to erase the usage of the word Cathar from academia, which is being waged over the internet. The Centre d'Études Qatar, the Centre of Qatar Studies in Carcassonne here, was closed down this summer and now no longer exists. It was wiped out after consistent internet campaigns.
That's horrible. They were persistent, I must say.
Yeah, and I also have understand that Montsegur, we managed to get the castle of Montsegur onto the UNESCO shortlist, the UNESCO World Heritage Site shortlist. But UNESCO are now requesting that in order for it to be passed as a full UNESCO World Heritage Site, that the usage of the word Cathar, the C word, needs to be eliminated from the description of the castle.
Boy, don't they get their mitts on everything? That's just awful.
Yeah, isn't that odd? So that should be the actual condition that they want to call it the Imperial Castle, right? And I don't even know what empire they're talking about.
Do they?
But I have to say this. I mean, you may think we're really crazy now, but I have to say it. You have a lot of protection. You know that. But you have a lot of protection that goes beyond this lifetime. When I look at you, I see many lifetimes behind you, King Richard. So you are protected, and thank God you are. And so, again, this has been, I have chills. I mean, this has been a momentous interview, this meeting with you. We are so grateful and so honored to know you and all of what you're doing. It's so important, and it's so heartfelt. This is what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And this is what our show to be all about, is important people like you and important things like you.
I'm truly touched. I mean, my sensation is that we are light, and that our true lives and consciousness extends beyond the apparent limits of our lives.
Yes, it certainly does. Well, Richard, I hope you'll come back, because we can't just leave this here. We've got to have you back. So I'll be back in touch with you and your publicist. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you get this fantastic, wonderful story made into a movie, I will do it. So thank you so very much. I'm getting the cue from our producer.
It's like that.
We need to wrap. But Richard, thank you so very much. I'm going to call you King Richard from now on, because that's who you are. We hope you will come back and grace us with your presence again. And until then, everybody, we'll be back with another show next week. We'll see you on the Blue Highway. Get this book. Make sure you get it. Otto Rahn, Grail Hunter. Make sure you get it. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.